What's up, y'all? KRCPinto here. I'm hanging out with Axeice. Today, we're going to bring you the first episode of our new series all about pushing your game further than it's ever gone before. Axeice, how you doing today, man?
Pretty great. How's everything with you?
It's great, man. So, we're going to go right into episode 1 here. So, in this episode, we're going to talk all about teching, the different ways you can tech, the benefits of teching, and how you should be incorporating this mechanic into your game.
Yes.
So first off, let's just start absolute baseline here. What is teching? If someone says like, "Oh, I teched that," what do they mean, Axeice? What's the basic of the mechanic?
In this game, when you are being hit and after they finish their combo, you have a few ways to tech. And if you are on the ground, you have a few ways to tech, like up, or you could stay on the ground, or neutral, which you pop on the ground and stay on the floor. There's other ways of teching in the air, and we will get to that soon. So teching, usually when you get hit and they leave you on the ground with most combos finishes, you could usually stay on the ground like this, so they could have to wait for you to get up, so they could sometimes miss their input, or they could call their assist too early. When you hold up, when you get a hit on the ground, you go up, and so you have the ability to be in the air, so they don't have to hit you with small buttons on the ground, and you have the ability to jump too, so you don't have to fall down into the assist or anything like that. The other ways you could tech when you get hit is in the air, and this is a better example. So you see how you could pop up straight up? You could go straight down. One is forward. You could go behind them because they might be chasing you going forward, and the other way is back. So that's neutral. That's when you hold back and hold a button. Make sure you always hold a button too, because that's how you make you always make sure their combos is real, and if they do drop the combo, you always get out of it.
Right. So in the way to make sure this is accomplished is once someone begins comboing you, you can hold down either the light, medium, or heavy buttons in a direction, and when their combo has a gap in it, you will tech out whichever direction you're holding, correct?
Correct.
And the benefit of teching, of course, is to force them to stay on their toes. Like if they slip up, or if they let you go in a combo, or if they finish a combo, they don't know exactly where you're going to be. So there's an element of guessing for them, which is the perk here, right?
Yes, and for example, right now, this Brawly I set to delay tech much later than he's supposed to. And so, for example, some people will attack pre-early, and then he will wake up and press a button. It's not always recommended, but you should always switch up your game plan. And I press my buttons early, and I get hurt for it. And then he can start his combo and start his turn. One thing about delay and tech on the ground too, even though it's a good way to change it up, if your opponent knows how to counter it, for example, you could still be pushed on the ground when you're being delay teched. You could get really corner carry too. So you don't want to be in a corner. And there's another thing about this too, that if your opponent is ready for it, they could react to it too, even online. So they could push you to the corner, and they can see you recover, and then you could punish them for it. But it's for people who likes to chase up tech, or people who likes to call in assist early to try to get a meaty setup or something like that. So that's a good way to do stuff.
So things to keep in mind when you're delaying, because you don't want to get pushed all the way to the corner, obviously, because the corner is not where you want to be in this game. Or any fight.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true.
So, and it is worth pointing out that you did react to him standing up, because I saw that the counter popped up. He is set to 2L no matter what, yeah?
Yeah, so even if I set them to random, you could easily counter. That was a clash there, but you know, it's timing from there, like right there.
Takes practice, but it's worth knowing that your opponent could do that to you if you're delaying too long too.
So you could always set this up in practice mode and practice this, and this helps you practice other reaction times too.
So, delay, of course, only works when you're on the ground, correct? You cannot delay a tech in the air, and the air will always be an instant tech.
If you do not hold a button to tech, you could hold down, and you could go straight to the ground, and still get a delay tech. So you don't have to recover in the air, and you could go straight to the ground if you want to.
Right. Let's say
that
you're
was a very great question.
Like Dragon Ball in the air, though, like Dragon Rush height.
So you know how 2H brings you very high in the air. You don't have to recover and go straight to the ground and still delay tech. Would I recommend that? no, but that is a viable thing that you might could come into handy with. So that's a very great question.
You are at risk of getting put into blue combo that way for sure.
Yes, guaranteed.
Which that's something that I guess we should say out loud too, is if you don't know this, when you're labbing combos, if your combo counter is the yellow and red color, it's a true combo. Once that combo counter turns blue, it means there was a point where you could have teched out but missed it. So that is worth knowing.
One other thing about Tekken is that all level 3s in this game has a property where you're forced to recover in a certain way. So this means you cannot delay tech, you cannot up tech, you are forced to recover in one way. See, I was holding up that entire time because you saw me jump as soon as recover, and I was not able to up tech. So your opponents like to level 3 you so they could force you to recover in a way so they could play their game.
So that is the basis of all level 3 Oki in the game then, is that, you know, you have to recover a certain way, which means knowing your level 3 Oki means knowing exactly what to do in the situation after you hit a level 3.
Very correct. So that's why a lot of tournament players and players who knows what to do with this could be very dangerous, because they could try to get their turn and reset.
And there's no way to delay that that wake up either. You're standing up no matter what after a certain amount of frames.
Yeah, so every level 3 has different type of, you know, what could they do. Some could cross up and still have their turn, and you cannot 2H it. You cannot level 3 it back with some setups, and it's very, very dangerous. So you have to be on the lookout for that.
Is the wake up time universal for level 3s, or is it different values per character?
Every character have different values. For like example, 17 has a very good Oki. You see how overhead? If he didn't level 3 there, he would have got hit, but I was still safe even though he did his level 3. That is universal. I believe 98% of the characters does have that type of setup. I think only very few who doesn't, but a lot of characters, I could have whiffed my overhead and go to a 2M and still make that true. So some characters has a lot of ways to do crazy mix-ups after level 3.
Okay, good to know. And if you're on the receiving end, don't try to do a weird tech, because it will not work that way. Always be ready for the incoming mix-up. So we've talked about directional teching, both in the air and on the ground. We've talked about delaying your tech on the ground, but there is one more option which combines the two, correct?
Yes, so if you get hit, you can hold down and still tech up. It's only a few frames, but it's still useful. So you lay on the ground for a few frames and then you up tech. So instead of just going straight up and not laying on the ground, you could delay it just a few seconds and then go up. You have to remember one important thing, that you cannot do this tech if you get a slide and knockdown. And a slide and knockdown is when you're on the ground and slide down a bit, just like that. Or usually when you get 2H and then straight to the ground, you have a slide and knockdown like that. You cannot delay up tech in those matters. Okay,
what was that tech Broly was doing there? Was that just his wake up? Like a normal wake up tech?
Yeah, that was his normal neutral wake up. If you hold a button with no directions, that's his neutral tech.
Okay. Cool. So that one sounds like, you know, very situational tech to use. Is there any situation you'd recommend using the delayed wake or the delayed up tech, or would you say to stay away from it? What do you think about it in terms of like high level gameplay?
For high level gameplay, a lot of the times, a lot of people do slide and knockdown so they could see how you tech and stuff. But a lot of sometimes, for example, Kid Buu has some interesting setups where he doesn't do slide and knockdowns, and so those times would be very good to do them, because it will mix up their game plan.
Right, so kind of throw them off their rhythm a little bit. If they seem like maybe like a flowchart kind of player, it's a good way to mess with their head. Yes, that will throw them off. I was looking for that word, and that was perfect what you said. So okay, so in terms of teching, I think we've covered all the basics. What's something that you think that in general almost every player can improve at with teching? Is there something you see in a lot of like competitive matches in terms of teching where like people misuse it a little bit? Like, do you think people are overcommitted to one tech and should maybe try mixing it up more? What's like an observation you've had about this since you play in tournament a lot?
I do feel like, you know, it's a habit. You get a habit with something that makes you feel comfortable. If you think going on the ground and delay teching will help you see a situation better, it's good. But sometimes your opponent could really see that fast and then start doing more overheads or start to push you to the corner, and that's not very good because once you're in the corner, you are susceptible to more mix-ups and stuff like that.
Right.
And when you up tech, which I up tech a lot, and some people try to call me out for it, luckily I'm able to react to certain things. Like if they try to dragon rush me and grab me in the air, I'm still able to tech it and stuff like that. And a lot of the times I like to up tech in the corner, and if they do miss they Oki, so if they miss their setup, I could get out the corner really easily with few of my characters like that. For example, Goku Black has a nice one with his foot dive and it's really hard to punish. Characters like Jiren, who doesn't have that, I like to stay on the ground, and then I could just wake up with the counter or see what they're gonna do and counter my play from there.
So you think it's kind of character to character for you, depending on the toolkit?
Yes, because if Jiren gets in the air, there's not much I could do. His moves are not the greatest under me, and they could punish me much easier.
Makes sense. All right. Do we have anything else to cover in terms of teching?
No, I believe that's a lot of the stuff that you could learn from Tekken, and you should experiment with that.